welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents the NBA Fantasy Ball or DFS edition. My name is Nick from CWE, and I'm here to bring you my 3 favorite plays for Monday, March 20th, 2017. Last night was the first night that I didn't play NBA DFS all year. I actually fell asleep, and I woke up to see some pretty big games from guys at the point guard position. So I kind of wish I would have played. But let's move on to tonight. We did a non-traditional show yesterday where we just kind of went through the games because I thought there would be more sitting between San Antonio and Cleveland, and there wasn't. You'll have that sometimes. A lot of this point in the season is just going to be speculation about if somebody's going to sit, if someone's not going to sit. A guy like LeBron James, if he's not playing at 7 o'clock, is going to be a risky proposition, as we've already learned once so far. So let's take a look at some players before I've done any tweaking to things to see who our module likes. Let's start out with Rudy Gobert, George Hill, Avery Bradley, DeAndre Jordan, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, James Harden, Nicholas Batum, Klay Thompson, Miles Turner, Jeff Teague, John Wall, Gordon Hayward, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook. So that's kind of where our projections inside optimizers are heading right now. Here's 3 guys I really like. I like Dennis Schroeder a lot tonight. 13-4 on Fantasy Draft, 72 on FanDuel, 71 on DraftKings. What puts him in play for me is obviously the fact that, Paul Millsap, Kent Bazemore are both going to be out for this game. That means that a lot of the usage is going to be spread out. I think the Kemba Walker ownership situation is going to be very interesting because typically Atlanta is a team that we want to use point guards against because we know how bad Schroeder is in terms of playing defense. But people just got burned by Kemba 2 times in a row, where if you add those 2 outings up, he still didn't hit 5x value total in those 2 outings. So it's going to be tough, but I think that Schroeder could be a guy that gets kind of lost in the shuffle tonight. And he's someone who I don't think is going to have that much of a problem with Kemba Walker. I mean, we talk about undersized point guards, and Kemba's, outside of Isaiah Thomas, Kemba's a perfect example of just that. Moving on, I like Al Horford. He's finally starting to pick his play up. 13K fantasy draft, 66 FanDuel, 69 DraftKings. So we're starting to see the price creep up. The last time I used him, he was 6K. On both FanDuel and DraftKings. Now we're paying 5, 6, 7, 8, almost a K difference, but he's turned it up. I think that, even without Isaiah Thomas, he's a really top play for me. With Isaiah, I think that'll remove a little bit of the ownership because people might not feel confident that he'll be able to play as well with Isaiah back in the lineup, but that's kind of silly. He did very well with Isaiah in the lineup earlier in the year. He just went through a prolonged offensive slump. With things starting to turn around, I think it's a good time to buy in on him before we see the price probably into the 7Ks if this continues. Now, I thought pretty hard about what route I wanted to go for the last play, and I settled with Stephen Curry, 17-3 fantasy draft, 99 FanDuel, 94 DraftKings. So we're starting to see his price get to a point where when he does blow up, it's going to be at a tremendous value. Like you're looking at 9,400 on DraftKings, a site that gives you a bonus for 3-point shots. He wasn't forced to play much in the team's last game as they had it well in hand, so he wasn't on the court at all in the 4th quarter, but he was having a pretty strong showing. I would have to think that the scoring will be needed for this matchup with Russell Westbrook and the Thunder tonight, and he's kind of I don't know if I want to use the term undercover. Is Steph Curry ever under the radar? I mean, he might be when you're looking at Wall, who's played much better at a similar price. You're looking at Kemba in a good matchup. Then you start looking at some of these guys who are just priced so much cheaper that we'll get into in the next video, and you could definitely end up in a situation, and I've forgotten both Harden and Westbrook who are priced up and both playing well, so this could definitely lead to some low ownership on Stephen Curry tonight, and that's where I want to be because he's not going to continue to play like this. He's an MVP caliber player, as we've seen with him winning it twice in a row. And there's really nothing to be concerned about with what Russell Westbrook does on defense. So, I'm kind of in the position I like to take the Warren Buffett mentality with just about everything I do. And if you're not familiar with that, his adage goes, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Meaning, if you think people are going to stay away from Stephen Curry tonight and you do feel like he's got the potential to put up a big game, you have to be greedy with it, because if he goes off and you're getting him at 5% ownership, you're so far ahead of the field, especially if those other plays don't do well. So that's going to wrap it up for our main plays today. I'll be back with our value picks in just a minute. Until then, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Head over to researchfantasy.com, sign up for our NBA mailing list. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.